What's good everyone, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we're going to be going through my round 3 AFL tips and predictions for the round. Of course, footy season is starting to get the ladder actually rolling, and it's going to be a good video. So before we get into the video, like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll get straight into the video with reviewing my round 2 tips. So now let's review the round. We had a tipping. It was not the best round of tipping, as we got a 5 out of 9. If you haven't joined the tipping comp yet, join it. It will be in the description down below. But yeah, so the first game was Hawthorn versus Carlton. We got the job done by 20 points. I'm pretty happy with the boys. We did pretty well, and I'm really happy. But there were some areas we could have fixed, like in the second quarter. At halftime, I honestly thought the game was over, as they really took the game to another level, and it was very close in quarter time, like about 55 to 53, something like that. Like, it was really close. It was neck to neck between these two sides until the last quarter, where the Hawks took the game away from the Carlton Blues, which was a good tip in a way. I'll take it in day of the week. Then the Bulldogs taking on Collingwood. The Doggies, yeah, I had belief in the Doggies, as that, you know, the Friday night upsets we always see, like, it's very big trend coming into 2025, and they didn't get the job done against the Pies, in which I think was a robbery, because the umpires were kind of robbing them with the free kicks, the Collingwood Magpies. Look at the free kick count, as it probably will be shown up on screen. That's pretty unfair on the Dogs as well, so I feel like Dogs probably should have got the job done. But either way, Collingwood won in an absolute robbery for the ages. And then Essendon versus Adelaide. It's actually a high scoring era for the AFL, 100 to 161, so 261 points was in play, and the Crows just smashed them all over the ground, did they, at MCG? I didn't watch this game, of course, so I don't really know. I tipped Port. Some people tipped Richmond, thinking they'll do the same thing with Sam Law, and it wasn't to be. 140 to 68, absolutely smashed them. Then St Kilda versus Geelong. I tipped Geelong. Pretty much everyone tipped Geelong, and the Saints got the job done somehow at Marvel Stadium. It was a very weird tip, but yeah, it was a very close game, and the Saints got the job done in the end. Brisbane versus West Coast. I don't know how West Coast can choke that game. It was so terrible to watch. The West Coast were winning 53 to 25, and somehow they choke it and lose by 19 points. They did so good in the first half, and they do so bad in the second half, which we've seen from many teams. And then North Melbourne versus Melbourne. North Melbourne smoked the Melbourne Demons, and somehow I tipped North. Give me a trophy right now here. This is probably going to be tip of the round for me. Like, I tipped them last week, and I'm like, oh, screw it, I'm going to back them in again to get it done against D's. D's not too good of a side, and they did it. They did it somehow. Out of nowhere, they just won the game. It was crazy. They just smashed the Demons. In the first quarter, they looked pretty good with the first goal with Larkey. Of course, they look pretty good in 2025. And now Sydney versus Fremantle, a pretty close one to end off the round, 68 to 65. Got that tip correct. So all the Sunday games was correct. It was just really the Saturday games that I got incorrect. But yeah, let's move on to my round 3 tips and predictions. So the first game of the round is Essendon versus Port Adelaide. Thursday night footy, 27th of March, 7:30pm at Marvel Stadium. Haven't had a Thursday night game at Marvel Stadium for a while now, but I feel like this is going to be actually a really good game, and probably one of the games of the round. And one of the best Thursday night footy we're going to see in a while. I feel like we've seen lots of close games between the Bombers and the Port Adelaide Power. Of course, we saw Dan Houston pick up the Sirens against Essendon Bombers. That was pretty close, and I feel like Essendon will pretty much, and Port Adelaide will be pretty much the same game, but under the roof in Marvel will make a big difference to the fact that I'll be in this game. I feel like Port Adelaide, they haven't played lots of games under the roof in Marvel in 2024, so I feel like Essendon will carry that experience, and I feel like Essendon will go on to win this game and get the job done by a good 9 points. So now we got the Blues taking on the Dogs at Marvel Stadium, 7:40pm on the Friday. It's got to be a good game, of course, because Friday night games are usually the best time. Yeah, prime time footy 2 games in Marvel in a row, which is pretty interesting. Of course, we know the Blues coming off a loss against the Hawthorn Hawks, and the Bulldogs coming off a robbery against the Collingwood Magpies, which makes things tough for them. But I feel like Carlton, they might not recover after their last couple of losses they've really had. And really, they've had a dreadful start to 2025, have they? The Carlton Blues. I can't dream of a worse way to start your season, losing to Richmond and all that. So I think I have to definitely tip the Bulldogs to get the job done by a good 23 points. So now Saturday 29th of March, 1:20pm at the MCG, we got the D's and the Suns. Of course, the Suns had a bye in round 2, and the D's got smashed by about 60 points against North Melbourne, and that is not a good sign at all. So it just goes to show them Demons are not really in good form coming into this game, while the Suns haven't played a week of football, so they missed out on 2 weeks of football. So basically, 2-week break, come back refreshed, and they'll probably do well. I expect a good game from the Suns, and I feel like this is probably going to be one of the biggest smashings this round you would expect. I feel like the Suns will just cruise past the Demons on the Saturday afternoon at the MCG, and I think the Sunnies will get the job done easily by a good 71 points. So now we got the Saints and the Tigers on the Saturday, 4:15pm at Marvel Stadium. So the Tigers, they came out of a smashing from Port Adelaide, 140-68, which was pretty concerning. Jacob Hopper did pretty well. And for the Saints, it was against Geelong. Jacob McRae had a gun of a game. He actually had a good game. He recorded about 35 touches. And I feel like the Saints are more experienced in wealth. Of course, we saw a good patch of play against Carlton, against Richmond. Richmond looked like they might not be the worst side in the league this year. They proved us wrong in round 1. Round 2, they couldn't consolidate it. How will round 3 go for them? I feel like it won't be a big smashing as St Kilda are not really a really dominant team. But I feel like they'll get the win convincingly, and they'll get it done by a good 33 points. So on the Saturday night, 7:35pm, we got the Hawks taking on the Giants. It's a bit weird there's a Utah's game on the Saturday night, but that's anyway good for me. I mean, happy to get some Saturday night games for the Hawks. I think the Hawks, my Hawks, they'll probably do well against probably the premiership's favourites, you can say. 2 teams that are very competitive top 4 sides, and they look like they're both very deadly, and they have both young youth, and they carry lots of that coming into this game. I feel like it'll be a very high scoring game after all, as the Giants and Hawks are very, very forward dominant. Of course, we know Big Marby Achol, can't wait to see what he'll do on a small ground like Utah's. Of course, we know the Hawks don't play the best on Utah's, so I'm going to back in the Giants in this one to get the job done by 3 points. So now on the Saturday night, again at the Gabba, Brisbane vs Geelong. This game has been rescheduled from opening round, which was meant to be the first game of the round, now to be playing on the Saturday, 7:35pm. So they've rescheduled it. I mean, it's a pretty good idea, and then the other 2 games get the bye. So this has been rescheduled because of Cyclone Alfred. Now, I feel like it's going to be a good game. Of course, we know the Cats, they can play really, really well at times, and then the Brisbane Lions also can do so. I feel like this was the preliminary final rematch, so I feel like it's going to be a good game, probably one of the best games of the round, to be honest, as both of these teams are going to have a very close game, and I feel like it will be wet weather footy, so I feel like it will be pretty close, and I feel like it will be very, very low scoring in my opinion, and I feel like the Lions just get the job done in a sneaky win by 4 points. So now on the Sunday, 30th of March, 3:20pm, I'm surprised this game is actually getting broadcasted on Channel 7. North Melbourne vs Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. Well, we've seen these 2 sides play last week, and Adelaide Coast smashed the Bombers, and North Melbourne absolutely belted Melbourne, and this is going to be a smashing, I think, as well. I mean, these 2 teams coming with good form, coming from last week, will be good in a way, but Adelaide are the more experienced side, and North probably will get a few good wins here and there, but it won't be consistent as the other teams in the league. Of course, they'll get some few good wins again here and there, as I told before. That's why I tip them here and there, but I think the Crows will get the job done and absolutely smoke them by a good 46 points and absolutely smash them. So now at 6:10 p.m. at Optus Stadium, we got the Rack Derby, West Coast versus Freo at Optus Stadium, 6:10 p.m. Of course, we know these two sides hate each other very much, and it usually becomes a good matchup. And this is at 6:10, so on the Sunday. I don't think many people will be watching it except for the WA fans, but it's going to be a bloody good game. I think it'll be a decent crowd coming into this game to watch it. Of course, Harley Reid will do pretty well in this game, I expect. Of course, the West Coast youngsters, they choked against Brisbane Lions last week, and that really cost them a bit. But yeah, I feel like this week they're going to come very good and fit and probably beat the Freo Dockers. You never know. I feel like they're pretty good and very young youth, so I think they're going to win it by about 13 points. Now, like and subscribe for more content on the YouTube channel. Of course, we're going to set a like goal again, and I'm going to set it for 20 likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, because there's going to be some banger content and a special video coming out this week. So subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.